Gratitude, as always, must go to the Graphic Corporation for always bringing very relevant topics of discussion to the fore, and for partnering with Stanbic to create this forum for thought sharing within our community. This morning, that topic of discussion is living within our means. In our current state, this is an incredibly weighty topic. Some might even claim it is brave of us to decide to create space to openly talk about issues of financial management and its impact on sustainability and stability. So let me lighten the mood a little bit before we delve in. I come from a fishing village called Apam. The natives call it Apa, some 85 kilometers from here. And I have fond memories of time spent splashing in the sea as a kid, with or without clothes on. Skinny dipping, I think they call it. I only mention this because as I reflected on today's topic, a famous quote by Warren Buffett, one of the world's foremost investors, sprang to mind. In it, he says, "Only when the tide goes out do you discover who's been swimming naked." The reason why this anecdote is relevant is that it gives us a pictorial depiction of what can and often does happen when we as individuals, as corporates, or as a nation do not live within our means. Let's start by being honest with ourselves. Ranked according to our GDP per capita, we're not the wealthiest of nations. Because of this, we must be acutely better at mechanizing our trade-offs than those nations ranked as wealthier than ourselves. The idea of trade-offs is one of the most basic principles in economics, that in order to have more of one thing, we must accept having less of something else. This principle also implies that in order to circumvent what might sometimes be difficult trade-offs, we must explore alternative revenue sources. But is this what we do? At an individual consumer level, our habits and behaviors today, especially where spending is concerned, will inform how we live tomorrow. When we as consumers live beyond our means and the monies which fuel that lifestyle are not our own, we can reasonably expect the chickens to come home to roost at some point, because that lifestyle isn't really ours. It's simply a mirage. At a corporate level, while clients may have access to lending, part of our role is to protect them from developing an appetite which exceeds their financial capacity. We do this by holding them to account against contractual covenants that are set to serve as guideposts within which debt sustainability is assured. Those contractual covenants also help to ensure the buildup of appropriate buffers to cushion against unexpected shocks. Shocks are an inevitable part of our existence. For us as individuals, these shocks might come in the form of the sudden, unexpected passing of a loved one. At the corporate level, a business owner might be sideswiped by the premature need to replace his or her generator. At a macro level, or for the sovereign, catastrophic events such as the 2008 liquidity crisis, or the 2000 dot-com bubble, or the 1997 Asian financial crisis, or indeed, more recently, warring European nations, might be enough to level the proverbial house, which was already built on shaky ground. The reality, according to what history almost guarantees, is that a shock may well be looming. So how do we begin to create a consistently stable environment which can absorb these inevitable and sometimes cyclical shocks? At an individual level, this might mean holding back a small percentage of our income during the stable periods, a rainy day fund, if you like. At a corporate level, would it require us to continue scenario planning, stress testing, and prudent budgeting to ensure that our debt equity ratios remain within reasonable parameters? Is the answer in being able to consistently manage the trade-off between our desires today versus our needs tomorrow? In doing so, can we organically build a buffer which prepares us for the unexpected? For the sovereign, because the notion of easy money and the accessibility of borrowing is strong, the temptation to fly close to the sun can be very high. How can we at that uppermost level realistically expect to effectively self-govern and self-manage when we're dependent on our own awareness and disciplines to alert us to any financial distresses that might be on the horizon? Is the answer in somehow mirroring the rigor and discipline offered through contractual covenants at the corporate level? I don't think it's controversial to say we should be mature enough and introspective enough to hold each other to account or to be a critical friend. Is it not the very reason that boards and regulators exist? There is nothing wrong with challenging what has evolved into the status quo, if that status quo has the potential to lead us down a thorny path. It is our job today to be honest, to be authentic, to be introspective, and to be critical in order that we might move the needle even just a little bit so that Ghana and her people can thrive sustainably. I am really looking forward to this morning's panel discussion and hope that we will yield, at the very least, some perspectives which stimulate further constructive debates outside of this room and encourage us all to make shifts which can benefit us all individually as well as collectively. Thank you very much.